yes, the Eucharist is. Stuff like that. Maybe there's some sort of tensions there. The third thing that she says is that this is really, I mean, it's, you know this if you know the Gospel of John, but she just really drives the point home. The deeper you get into this, the more clear it is that this is a gospel of God's love and self-revelation. It's a love story in which God's love is described in rich and beautiful detail over and over and over again using various different symbols. And then we're invited to join into that loving relationship. And it's a relationship. And there's a variety of ways in which Jesus describes and draws the disciples and the reader of the book. Because lots of these things kind of open out into, and you're with me, right? You coming too? Right? Come on in. You're drawn into this loving relationship of self-revelation. Self-revelation because this is how God is known. The household is how God is known. Not a reparation for sin, you know? There's really none of that through the whole gospel. It's really sort of dodges that territory entirely. Christ sidesteps every time when someone tries to pin him down. Which are the worst sins? What's the best virtue? How do we, he's constantly going, well, look over there. Look, an elephant. What came out of my relationship with Mary Collo on the phone, and I think this really speaks directly to my experience of being a Johannite, is that the topos of God, and that word means the location of God in the world, the topos of God, as depicted for us, by the time that seventh step of creation is tetelestai on the cross, it is finished. The seventh step becomes finished on the cross, and Christ gives over his Spirit. And the Spirit comes to dwell in the household itself. And that we are called to throw ourselves into that life of faith and love in community. That self-giving, intimate mutuality with each other is what's being pointed to by the gospel, is that the topos of God is not the temple in Jerusalem. It's not the peak of Mount Gerizim. It's not the physical presence of Christ, because that's withdrawn from us. The topos of God is the sacredness of human relationship. And not in a general, we're all a family, rah-rah-rah kind of a way, but in the very specific, eye-to-eye, face-to-face, human relationship between individual human beings. In this, God indwells. God indwells in me, and God indwells in this. That's where we worship God. That, to me, is the hinge point of what it is to be a Johannite in the 21st century, is recognizing that sacredness. Not saying it only exists in contemplation, within me, not saying it only exists in the beautiful rituals of the sacraments, but that it exists in our community, in this person-to-person beautiful intimacy that we carry with each other. That's the mystery of the Johannite Church to me.
And you stole my homily for tomorrow before the consecration.
There we go. This is a weird church. I went to my first conclave in San Francisco to get ordained. And I met a bunch of people, and I spent a few days with them. It was very nice. It was a great time. I went back in Wisconsin, and when I met, we communicated online, we spent some time in campfire and whatever. But then I came back to Conclave in Wisconsin, and when I met everyone again, I was meeting my family. There was a total uncontroversial givenness to those relationships, which only happens with family.
Yeah.
It's the certainty that these relationships are absolutely secure, and there's absolutely no way we can argue and bitch and fight and moan about obscure points of theology and politics, and we do. This church is not. This church has all the fights you'd expect of a family, but the certainty that underlies that is the absolute, rock-solid, secure certainty that this is the household of God, and that the agape that underlies this holds the whole thing together no matter what. So that, I would say, is the real secret of St. John. The absolute mundane real secret of St. John. That's the end of what I wanted to say. Pray.
First off, thank you. That's wonderful. And